Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Astrology Circle. I'm Samantha Hammer, and I am joined with my co host, James Pipitone. Today, we're here to talk about Mercury. James, are you excited?
Yeah, really excited because all I've been thinking about is Mercury since we're in Virgo season.
Exactly. We're at the tail end of Mercury going through its exaltation and domicile, which I love. I love Virgo season, to be honest. Maybe it's because my Venus is there, but I don't
That
know.
definitely has something to do with it. Yeah, I really love Virgo season just because every time it's Virgo season, it feels as though it's like the perfect transition.
It does.
Yeah,
It it's right before the equinox, and stuff like that. It's like, what did you mess up during the summertime? What can we like pull together? It's back to school time.
yeah,
Get your
yeah.
ducks in a row. I feel like Virgo gets a lot of I don't want to say hate because that's a strong word, but like Virgos are like wildly misunderstood a lot of the time, I feel like. And they just mean so well.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about that because every time someone brings up a Virgo, it's either, oh my God, you're a Virgo, or oh my God, you're a Virgo.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's really interesting because Mercury's not a malefic, but there is a big tendency for mercurial things to come across or potentially come across as harsh or harmful or judgmental, criticism, all things that Mercury can do. Interestingly enough, it's not inherently malefic, but there's such a way.
No. Yeah. Also, I was going to say, just it depends on who Mercury is hanging out with. So if you have, like, let's say a Virgo sun person and the Mercury is co-present with the sun, but Mars is there, you can be sure that person's going to have a wit, to say the least, about them that can cut through to the core of
Yeah,
someone else more than likely.
for
So yeah.
sure. Mercury is such a molded environment. It's like a sponge for whatever it's near. And I was thinking of an example of how, like you said, Mercury with Mars in Scorpio, and then if you take someone with Mercury, Venus in Taurus, these two people are not going to get along like fundamentally on mercurial issues. But on its core, it's like who's right, who's wrong. There really is no right answer. But Mercury can show up in a really aggressive, sometimes violent or sharp, martial way, or it can show up in a really Venusian, soft, comfortable way. Just given just a soft-spoken, fundamental, rooted presentness Mercury can bring, or it can just be attacking, attacking, attacking.
Yeah. Depending on its phase too, and the chart of someone's too. I feel like I have this awkward Mercury on a personal level where it's on my ascendant, it's in Leo, but it's one day before going direct, so it's retrograde. I feel like I'm constantly interrupting people on accident. Like it's so honestly like something I've always tried to work on. I've gotten better over the years, but it's been like a skill I've had to develop to just simply not interrupt people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in a similar boat with my Mercury being in fall and detriment in Pisces. It's tough because I feel before I think, so I have to
Mm,
translate my thoughts into thought. I have to translate my feelings into thoughts, and then those thoughts into words. And by the time it's catching up, I start getting overloaded, and then I have to like spew everything out all at once. So it's really tough to manage that when Mercury's in such a expansive sign, Jupiter ruled sign. It's like I see it,
underwater.
right? I feel it all, and I'm
Yeah.
taking the thoughts in, but I have to put it out there. So it's tough for me to like translate those things in real time,
Yeah.
which is why Mercury and Pisces does well with like written form or poetry because the feelings have to be translated into words. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and something that's interesting about Mercury is how its strongest and weakest positions are along the mutable axis. So Mercury is obviously strong in its home sign of Gemini and Virgo, but it's weak in the Jupiterian sign of Sagittarius and Pisces. And what's really interesting about that is that Mercury likes to look in and likes to dial in and look at the microscopic, the details of things. but it struggles when it has to expand and look out. So it's just this beautiful mutable axis point where Jupiter is expanding outwards and pushing beyond the boundaries of what's possible, and Mercury is dialing in. And on a metaphysical concept and a way to look at it is the inward outward experience of we're the same no matter how we look at it, inward or outward. If you look dialed in, the world is massive. If you look up, the world is massive. And it shows a good contrast between one side of the metaphysical plane, which is mercurial, where we dial in, we, criticize to some capacity, we're shape shifting and moving things around and trying to orientate things in the most perfect spot. Or in Gemini, that would be in Virgo, and then Gemini, we're communicating and we're translating information and we're in the moment of the now exchanging the information. It's an air sign, so we're passing it along. And then on the opposite axis with Sagittarius, opposite from Gemini, we're thinking beyond that. We're not thinking of the now, we're thinking of possibilities for the future and how we can move forward. And then on the other Jupiter sign, it's the dreamy, elusive thinking of what's possible. So it's just funny how Mercury loves to dial in and it struggles when it has to expand out. It's like it gets lost in it.
No, that's the perfect thing I would say, like key phrase wise. It can get lost and in the expanse because Mercury is so focused and so dialed in on details in different ways when it comes to the Virgo Gemini, differentiation, but it's still very much calculated to say the least. And that's probably one of my favorite attributes of Mercury, to be honest. But I think when you get into the Jupiter ruled Mercury territory, where it is in fall, I'm sorry, detriment. So I think it's like really interesting when it's like that and you see people that have that spiritual bend and are able to go super expansive because these people are like one of a kind in my book. They're
Yeah.
able to talk about the spiritual stuff. They're willing to go with you places in a conversation that a lot of, others just simply aren't even capable of.
Yeah, I agree with
Beyond
that.
reason, beyond
Yeah.
reason.
It's yeah. Speaking from experience with Mercury in Pisces, I have two malefics in the sun in the same sign, so my experience is a little bit flavored differently. But I will say it took a while for me to as I'm trying to right now, take the thoughts and translate them into something that is cohesive and makes somewhat sense or translate to something possible. As opposed to
it's
someone Mercury and Virgo who can probably just spit out things.
it's part of your charm. And I think that's part of most of these people, like people with that placement's charm is obviously you have the malefics present. And I think that just grounds you. I call that edgy. That's an edgy placement to have Mercury. And it'll age well. You'll find
Yeah.
it.
Well, I'm in my Saturn return now as we speak, so definitely working on that for sure. What's your experience having a Leo retrograde Mercury? I know you mentioned it being on the ascendant, but what's that like for you where you're able to um, utilize the fire energy of Leo and then managing it with the retrograde component?
Well, I think the gifts I've seen it through my years, I can honestly say I'm really good at speaking about something that I am like very much excited about. It's infectious.
Mm,
And because of this kind of odd placement, it's whenever I do see it in charts, it's kind of like an interesting thing. It's like there's a lot of power, at least in its phase of day before going direct. There's like, I've seen everything there is to see. I can foretell a little bit, maybe not like so much. I'm not like a seer or anything, but these people like Steve Jobs is one of my favorite examples of this placement. Like he really was innovating things like Apple from like way back in the day that were so modern seeming, like no one ever thought they would really come to pass. And I feel like there was like a power in this like mercurial way of like seeing all that there was maybe before he was born.
mm,
Mercury saw it and then he was able to like go from there because he knew what to expect and what calculations to make in that Mercury space. But yeah,
Yeah, and you have the sun there.
yeah.
So adding to that strength that Mercury, has.
Yes, it's not combust or anything, which is cool. Mercury is right on my ascendant, so I always like the visual of like Mercury rising with like the sky,
Mm.
you know what I mean? And yeah, Demetra George has so much cool material on Mercury phase. If anyone wants to check that out, it's really, really interesting. It says a lot about a person. I was actually going to bring up too in this. I feel like I don't know about you. Have you ever like mistaken someone's Mercury sign for their ascendant?
Mistaking someone's Mercury sign for their ascendant. What do you mean?
Like how they come off. Maybe they are like coming off as such because they're
Oh, yes.
communicating a certain way.
Yes, yes, yes.
I've
That's
done
happened
that
a
so
lot.
much.
Yeah, that's happened a lot. I've been really trying to pay attention to try and differentiating the energies when speaking to people, but it's tough, when you don't have the birth information to like validate it after the fact.
Mhm.
But it's a fun game astrologers play. I don't know if anyone else does it, but
I know.
yeah, it's like
At my old day job, I was constantly like, okay, so you're either this or that's your Mercury. Because after a while, I would come to find their charts eventually because I'm a crazy person.
mm,
Uh, somehow was able to secure charts for most of them. I'd be like, oh, so your Mercury was where I was
right,
picking
yeah.
this up from. Because Mercury's never too far from the sun anyway. So, like, it's an interesting game.
Yeah, everywhere I go, I'm trying to pull a chart from somewhere, from somebody, or to get some type of astrology information. And if I'm with my brother, we always give each other that look, like you got it, seal the deal. Yeah.
Your Virgo brother?
Oh no, he's my brother. My brother is super Capricorn.
Oh, okay.
Super Capricorn, yeah. Well,
Got it.
I do have another Virgo brother, but the one that I'm referencing is super Capricorn.
Got it.
He was
I
suspicious
love
at
it.
first about the astrology stuff, but once you saw him,
They always are. They
yeah,
always are.
everyone always.
Yeah. I love it. But yeah, Mercury's just like the coolest planet. I love how mutable it is in its nature. I always like the visuals for Mercury are always like really fun to play with because of like it being so influenced by who it's near in someone's chart, whether that be the sun, Venus, what have you. My best friend, she has a Venus Mercury, and she's just every write up you read in any book, old or new, she is that. There's just something so safe and like so pleasant about the Mercury Venus, either conjunction or I think they can only go sextile one another.
Mm.
But yeah, very
I'm
pleasant
curious.
with words,
I'm curious
art.
about the Mercury Venus conjunction that your friend has because when I was thinking about this, it's like, what would you say are some of the tougher qualities or potential tougher qualities that a Venus Mercury would have? Would it be more along the lines of thinking things are easier than they actually are, or how would you describe some of the things that her Mercury would struggle with? I'm
I
putting you on
would
the spot.
say, yeah, no, I feel like not necessarily with her precisely, but it is something I've seen with this placement of telling people what they want to hear type
Mm.
of thing.
Oh, okay, like a pleasing
Um,
aspect to it.
a pleasing aspect, even if the sun's not there, it's not going to be about the self
Mm.
a lot of the time. It'll be about wherever the sun is. And as a Leo, I just cannot comprehend something like that. I'm just
Right.
kidding. But yeah, I think Mercury Venus is just like I think it's the ruler. It's have you done lots? Have you worked with lots or anything yet?
I have not
I think
intense aspect yet, but
yeah, neither have I, but I was looking at them the other day and the lot of like great works or like artworks is Mercury Venus. You like calculate the like distance between and I was like how perfect because it's like what you are creating and presenting into the world and stuff like that. And so I just feel like these are real artists a lot of the time, depending on the sign and what have you. But that's what I've seen most with like my best friend. She is 1000% of Libra rising with Venus, co present Mercury. And in the 11th in Leo, she makes beautiful things that are
mm,
shiny and gorgeous, painting wise.
that sounds like fun. I kind of
Yeah.
wish I had that.
Me too. I was like, gosh, Libra rising sometimes with a good Leo with a good Venus placement
Mm.
Gosh, what's that like?
And the multiplicity that Mercury brings, is it like she's always doing a lot of the same because it's Leo? I know it's a fixed sign.
That's a
So,
good question.
or is she the type of person where she'll just do a bunch of different things that are very expressive?
I think she's like an artist innately, like everything she does like has to be beautiful, but that is a good question, bringing up like all the fun aspects these things can have because it is opposed Saturn. And so she like is like in like chapters, like she does like painting, she used to do makeup, but they're all like very kind of organized into these like
Mm.
fixed chapters because she has Saturn in Aquarius with the moon there. And so there is like a nurturing that these things bring her as well, and the like within her home and within just like her overall life. She's very hard and critical on herself, and with that it's drove her to be like very excellent as an artist, self-taught, kind of crazy honestly. How good she is for like no like formal training in regards to like art. She did do like a certification for makeup, of course, Miss Libra Rising, but very on the nose stuff, honestly. That's what Mercury I feel like will almost always do. Unless it's like in some crazy sort of condition in a chart. It's almost like very if you know what you're looking at as an astrologer, it can be like a easy read.
Yeah.
That I don't mean for that to sound weird or something, but it just is like very expressive,
Hmm.
unless it's like in Scorpio in a night chart or something. But
So Mercury in Gemini, Mercury in Virgo, two different signs, but obviously a lot of similar qualities to them. I'm curious on your thoughts about how we can differentiate the two aspects of Mercury, one being obviously an earth sign and the other being an air sign. I love how Mercury in Gemini is about giving the words out, and then Virgo is sort of like picking the right words to say. What are your thoughts on that? I'm really curious.
yeah, no, absolutely that. And I always think of Gemini being going out and socializing and more outward and almost all over the place. It can have a manic type of thing. Take that manicness, put it in Virgo, and then you get the opposite at times. You have so crucial to critical detail about everything. And it's almost like it can be like clinical, like to the degree in which they have this organizing capability. And it is like behind the scenes, whereas Gemini's in front of the scenes.
Hmm.
The broadcaster, the like the reporter being like on a news station, the reporter's the Gemini, but the journalist that's writing the papers is the Virgo.
I love that. Sometimes when I see someone with a strong Mercury, I find that for the person that has the Mercury, they're very capable in their mercurial things, whether it be Virgo or Gemini. But what I found really interesting is the perception of people that have a strong Mercury can tend to come off as, let's just say, Mercury in Gemini, could be a know-it-all at times, or could be
Mm-hmm.
the type of person to just talk about things nonstop that might not inherently be relevant to whatever is being said or done. And
Yeah,
then take a really strong Mercury and Virgo, it's like they're really good at being critical, and they're really
they are.
good at being nitpicky and internally being hard on themselves and just finding everything wrong, which I thought was really interesting because Mercury's, believe, the only planet that I can think of at this moment that has that quality of having such strength, aside from being in uh, exaltation, the qualities of exaltation that have its issues, excuse me. But yeah, I noticed that even with such a strong Mercury, there tends to be not a malefic quality to it, but there is just a perception socially or culturally that could come off as negative, which I thought was really weird about Mercury.
That's such a good point, honestly. It's so true. I think it might be because Virgo, Gemini too, but Virgo just has this way of cutting to the core of things. It's an air sign. I think of like the suit of tarot, the swords. Like they just have this insane capability to really see through. They're trying to help you by exposing your like flaws or trying to help you. It's out of a place of care a lot of the time because they want you to be better. And so they're just alerted. It's an alerting, but the social, cultural stance you're speaking of, I have absolutely seen it as well. And I think that might be why I think people like to live in the absolute opposite space of the Virgo all the time, a lot of the time at least. And it takes a deep appreciation and probably can grow on some people after a certain point. But it's true. Having an exalted planet usually means better, easier things in the life. But you're right. Like having a Mercury in Virgo can just be not feel like an exalted planet in the chart a lot of the time.
Right. It's sort of like getting as dialed in as you possibly can
Yeah.
continuously over and over and over again. And I experienced this with my struggling Mercury ruling my 10th house because it's like Mercury's mutable. It's in the Jupiter ruled sign, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
how can I, and it's with the sun. So I was putting all that Virgo criticism energy on myself. I mean, it is a little
Mm-hmm.
complicated with my two malefics, but there was such a focus in on my career, being, what could I do? There's so many options I could do. And when I would speak to other Virgos, it's like, yeah, I deal with that every day. Every day I
Yeah.
struggle with that consistently.
It's
And
a
it's like,
club. It's a
yeah,
club. It's a Virgo club. If you think Virgos are mean to you, think of like it for life, it's for them on the inside is impossible,
right.
probably a lot of the time. So I've heard since for my research has said.
Yeah.
Um, it's pretty wild.
I have a lot of
Unless,
sympathy for them, compassion
yeah.
for them, because I could only imagine the internal struggle that, a really strong Mercury with the sun, in the angular house. It's like, oh my God, they must really be critical on themselves. And I keep touching on this, but it's so interesting that there's no inherent malefic qualities. I want to compare it to Mars just because I'm drawing the comparison
Yeah.
a little bit with like
Yeah.
the tendency for society to have such a perception of details being an issue. It's really interesting how things that are small that need changing are just beliefs that other people are perceiving to be fixed. So that Virgo tendency just gets in a human experience of us all just dealing with each other, it just gets ramped up and it can be seen as something quote unquote malefic. But the difference I would say would be with Mars is that Mars is going to be a pain in the ass. It's universally accepted that even if it's for the better, Mars will be a pain in the ass. Like,
It's what his job is. Yep.
right. So even if we don't like doing certain things, or if we get punched in the mouth for saying something wrong or whatever it might be, we are learning from that experience. With Saturn, it's the duties and responsibilities that is being brought to us that, we should be doing. It's like, I know I need to do these things and I feel the weight of it, but I just got to do it anyway. And ultimately it works out for the better over time. But the Mercury, it's like very perceptive, very, very, um, you could have a totally different opinion than me, and we could clash or we can get along. But that doesn't necessarily mean that what is occurring, being perceived mercurially, is bad. It just is. Which
Yeah.
speaks to Mercury as a planet. It just is a planet. So wherever you put it, it's going to mold into whatever circumstance it's in.
Earlier in this, you said Mercury's the sponge. I've used that so many times because that's what it is. It's literally absorbing the characteristics of what it's surrounded by or what it's aspecting in a really unique way that other planets just don't do. It's like very it's a really special thing. It can be for better or for worse. It's a really special thing. Mercury's the rule breaker. Like it has its exaltation and domicile in the same sign. It has its fall and detriment in the same sign. I love Mercury because it's like as soon as you think you figured it out, it's like changing
Right.
course
Yeah, exactly.
in a way no other planet does.
Okay, so that made me think about Mercury Gazimis, just the idea of things coming to us and the exchange of information to some capacity. What would you say about Mercury Gazimis? I'm curious.
Well, so Kazimis are the coolest thing ever. There's a lot of mystery around them, but it depends on there's two types of Kazimis. There's the inferior and superior, one meaning retrograde, one being direct, right? And so that's going to have a lot to say I think it was when you were talking about Jupiter versus Mercury stuff. The Cazimi really brings us to this moment where I almost feel like they can both exist. Like Mercury has that sense of purification back to its all form. So it sees out, it sees in, so within, so without. There's like this very spiritual quality to the Kazemi. And it happens what every 3 times a year, I believe, three to just as many times as Mercury goes retrograde. And so I always think of when these things sort of happen, especially if they're in a sign like Jupiter, Virgo or Gemini, right? There's going to be some really special qualities there because I don't know, not to get too woo, it's almost like this global factor gets involved within it. And yeah, so when it's retrograde, I a retrograde Kazemi, which is the I don't want to mess up. Let me look at my little cheat sheet here. Wow, I should know this. Austin would be so upset with me. Do you know it? Is it I don't superior is when it's retrograde. Yeah. No, inferior is retrograde. So inferior retrograde Kazemi is like when you go in and do your soul searching and put that critical eye on the self. You can kind of really do a lot with timing wise to like improve your life if you wanted to with these sorts of things. You can do the inferior inward work of Mercury, giving yourself that critical eye. Whereas when it's the opposite, you're able to go outward into your world and like create a tangible difference for
Right.
better, for worse.
So when Mercury hits the sun, something that you guys could keep in mind is that you want to just keep note of when it happens that
Mm-hmm.
day. If you have any like interesting ideas that pop into you, into you, or any interesting interactions that happen, wherever Mercury and the sun is being transited in your chart, just keep an eye out for that. And those little nuggets that you get can be helpful for the next time around. So just keep like a note of it. Uh, if it's retrograde, it would, like you mentioned, would be a little bit more internal. And if it's direct, when it's straight, it's about what am I doing outwardly. And for me,
Yeah.
this Mercury Zemi is in my 10th house. So funny enough, I'm thinking about all the things I could be putting out into the world and how I can, all the ideas that we can do uh, for my career, for my MC of my public eye. So it's just a nice little fun thing. And the Mercury retrograde, as you have it in yourself, is like such a topic of conversation. It's hilarious because whenever there's a Mercury retrograde, me and my fiance, we're like arguing about nonsense.
Yeah.
So it's nothing serious, but it'd be about the smallest of things that not, it's not like your mainstream, like, oh, like clean up your socks type of thing. It would be about the particulars of what is being discussed at the moment that we have a differentiating opinion on that we just start cycling and going in circles.
Oh,
And we have to
I'm
stop
relieved we're not the
ourselves.
only ones over
Right.
here, honestly. I call it the bickering. The bickering
Right.
it becomes far more tangible.
Yeah. So we just have to stop ourselves and say, like, it's Mercury retrograde. Like, let's
Mercury
just take
retro.
it easy. Yeah.
May I ask where her Mercury is really quickly?
Oh, yeah. I believe she has a Mercury in Virgo. I can double.
There it is.
Yeah, I
She's gonna be
believe.
on. Honestly, that's really a great little synastry for you guys to have.
I'm sorry. She has the sun in Virgo. She has Mercury 2 degrees in Libra. So that's why I
Oh,
was.
okay.
There
Got
we
it.
go.
It's
So it's
cuspy. It's cuspy.
right. Yeah, it's custom. She's a very okay. Bring no that Mercury Libra, bringing it back to balance. Okay. It's like okay,
That's wonderful. I
let's
wish I
bring
could.
it.
I That's a skill.
Yeah, it is. It is. Honestly. So, Mercury, I guess we could talk about Mercury throughout the different signs, just like a brief thing. I think it'd be a
Yeah.
fun little thing. Mercury in Libra, just because I brought it up, it's all about bringing harmony to the words. You know, if there's like if
Yes.
there's something that feels off balance, they'll say things in a way to bring it back to center.
Yes, absolutely. Do you have like a favorite Mercury placement?
Oh man, I
That
just
doesn't it, I know it's
Scorpio.
Libra. I know it's Libra, but
Yeah, obviously, right. I mean, I personally love Scorpio just because I have all the Pisces. So whenever I talk to someone with some type of Scorpio energy, it's just like it clicks, you know, it's just so nice. Um, but I would say Mercury in Scorpio is cool. I really love Mercury in Pisces because we don't really have to talk to each other. We can just like
I
send
could see that.
brainwaves.
Honestly, Mercury and Pisces has low key become my favorite, one of my favorite. I'm not just saying this to like butter you up for any reason, but it's become one of my favorite placements for Mercury. These people are the funniest people a lot of the time and are willing to just bring up the most like almost like in a borderline inappropriate for a joke's sake. Like they're just not afraid to just go into the ether and
Right,
talk with you about things. And it's always really entertaining. But then they can also be the same person that'll talk to you like about a spiritual path
right.
and stuff. The dualisticness is so real. But I love fellow Leos, Mercury's. I think that goes across the board. I think if you have same Mercury placements, you don't really need to talk too much. You're
Right.
just kind of in agreement.
Yeah. I also really love, it's probably the Jupiter rule sign, Mercury and Sag. They are hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
They're really ditzy at times, not in, in a negative way, but there's a tendency to just think of the positive and just focus on that and that only, which can come across as non-serious,
Yes.
which can be a struggle for people to try and, ground them a little bit when they're thinking about all the funny things out there that could be said instead of what we're, trying to talk about. But I do love Mercury and Sag.
I love Mercury and Aries too. Like Mercury fire signs, I guess, are really funny people. You can
Yeah.
take to the bank. They're just so fun. Even if they're not trying to be, like my mom has Mercury in Aries. I mean, it's insanity sometimes. Like words, it's the words falling out of the mouth that you shouldn't say
Mm.
for real like just doesn't even think about it.
My brother has Mercury in Capricorn, and you would obviously imagine a Mercury in Pisces and Mercury in Capricorn would have some pretty stark, different ways of looking at the world. And I had a conversation with him once, and we were talking about whatever it was. And he was saying, no, it's real. Like we're here right now. We're like he was so Saturnian in the way he views the world. It's like it's if it's in your face, it's what it is. And I'll
That's
say, well,
amazing.
no, it's kind of like you're just in this space of space. Like there really is nothing here. And he's like, what do you mean? We're in a room with
What do
walls.
you actually mean?
Yeah, what do you actually mean? Tell me what you mean, because that makes no sense to me.
You're like, that's your interpretation. That's fine.
Yeah. Mercury
Neither
and
of us are wrong. None of us
right.
are right.
Right. But you're definitely wrong. And I definitely
Yeah.
has Mercury and Capricorn.
Then your Mars kicks in. You're like, you know what?
You're
No,
right.
I'm joking.
Mercury and Cap people are great to figure anything out outside of, anything practical that needs like real problem solving. They're really
Yes.
good at figuring things out, coming
They're the
together.
hardest, like really hard working. Obviously, that depends on other placements, but every one that I have met, because simply Mercury cannot be so far from the sun is and stuff like that. So, like, if you're looking at a Mercury Capricorn, their sun is going to be nearby in framing, signs. And so I think it's always really funny when you get that double Cap Sun and Cap Mercury. These people are so hardworking because they
Yeah.
like have their identity wrapped up in that problem solving and the reality of the situation. And it can be a little intense at times, but I always appreciate it.
Yeah. Something interesting about Mercury too, since you obviously touched on it, is how you can't, same thing with Venus, is that you can't really get too far away from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking
I
about
think it's
this,
28 degrees, isn't it?
something
Give or
like that.
take.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going to go too far away.
Mm-hmm.
But it says a lot about the archetypal um, persona that a sun sign could bring. Like each person, they're who they truly are on the inside isn't going to go too far away from how they process and think about the world in relation to the sign that they're in. Because
Mm-hmm.
Mercury can't, you can't get, a sun in Aquarius with a Mercury in Leo. It just doesn't jive. And,
It's not possible.
right, it's not possible. Which is just something interesting about the Mercury. It's like wherever you go, I'll be there with you with the sun. I
It's
don't know
so
how that,
true.
I don't know how that
Wherever you are,
relates.
it finds you and will
Right.
meet you
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So I guess what would be
I,
your which Mercury signs you struggle with?
Cancer,
Cancer.
Mercury Cancer people. Um, I have I have no planets besides Pluto in water signs. I feel like I hurt the feelings of Cancer Mercury people
Mm.
a lot of the time, super unintentionally. That's kind of a stereotype I'm not trying to harp on it. It's just my experience that it happens to be. Um, my little brother, I hurt his feelings a lot, so unintentionally. To this day, we're adults, but he's just so sensitive. I have to put my
Yeah.
gloves on, my Mercury Cancer gloves on. But he also has a Cancer moon, so it might have something to do with it.
Ooh, okay.
Double whammy.
Double whammy.
But what about you? I feel like you probably are great with Cancer Mercuries.
I am great with Cancer Mercuries. I feel because of the water element to it, I have a different choice of words with them.
Hmm.
Um, because I know that things are going to come across differently
Yeah,
than what I'm trying to say. So with Mercury Cancer people, it's like the delivery is really important for them because
yeah,
they feel what's being said, but not in like a external concept of like it's out there and I'm experiencing it. It's more about internalizing. And it's like, oh, that hurt. Like, oh,
yeah,
what
yeah.
did you mean by saying that? Why did you say that? Like that was not nice. But I do get along with them. I like the banter. They're pretty humorous as well because
Yeah.
you can play around with that field. But besides that, Mercury and Taurus people,
Oh,
I have
yeah.
Venus and Taurus, so I'm able to have good conversations with them. But there's a fixed sign rigidity to certain concepts that, as Mercury and Pisces, I have to sort of unwind to get
Hmm.
to what is either being said or trying to meet at a middle ground. But that presentness is something that I definitely appreciate about them, though. I really love,
Totally.
yeah, that groundingness is really appreciated.
They're very real people. I was gonna say too, excuse me, even more than sign. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're talking about signs, but I feel like there's like people that have like Mercury house placements that
Right.
I'm like almost picking up on. Like
Mm,
Mercury, because I simply have Mercury in the first. Um, Mercury 12th people, Mercury in the 12th house people. I'm like, are you okay? Like, is there like I feel like I really embody everything that they aren't at times. Like simply the 12th and first are very different. And I feel like I'm able to like kind of speak what they're wanting to say when it's like I'm
mm,
talking about like my husband, like not just any 12th house Mercury person, but like people I'm really tight with. I'm able to just get the words out for them if we're in a context where it's like I can't text. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overstimulated. Can you just do it? I've like taken this like role of curator of information at times, and I don't even have to ask him about it. It's kind of that unspoken rule.
mhm.
Uh, but yeah, just wanted to throw that in there. Placement of the house and sign can be a thing
Yeah.
as well.
Mercury and the 12 people, I really love how,
Yeah.
like you said, like you're close, obviously, to your husband,
Yeah.
but the fact that you know a Mercury 12th person means they allowed you to get close.
Exactly. It's very intimate of a placement, I'd
Yeah.
say.
And
And
there's a lot
like
of,
they're able to navigate the darkness in a way that like I really find very fruitful. As like this sun in the first, Mercury in the first person, I'm like very in my own like field of vision a lot of the time. He's able to like be under the scenes, behind the scenes in a really meaningful way.
yeah, yeah, the Mercury and 12 people, there's a really interesting dynamic because they're comfortable with that. And I think it's such a beautiful thing because society is so used to wanting to be the celebrity, being the limelight. And as a Leo, you're a superstar as is. You got a talk coming up, you're going to be
Yeah.
all over the place. You got some things that you're working on. So you can really appreciate the behind the scenes work that a Mercury in the 12th would do. Because
Mm-hmm.
without them, there's a lot of runnings of the world that would not be able to occur. So the Mercury 12 people, they're really, that quality of them that you mentioned about kind of speaking, not necessarily for them, but knowing what's being said of the
Mm-hmm.
first of one to the other is such an interesting quality, especially with you in the first and him in the 12th. I really like that.
I mean, it's your stellium's in the fourth, right? So
Yeah.
like you have a major role behind the scenes too. I feel like with Sun Mercury, and you're able to see things like you're and like I've seen it within you. Speaking of a star is born. When I met you, you were able to read um like when we did a chart swap, like you're able to like pick up on things no one else has said to me before because there's a power in that fourth house of like what lies beneath. It makes for a great astrologer, diviner of any kind. So kudos,
I appreciate
James.
that.
Yeah.
It also means I struggle with vitamin D issues. So,
Get some
uh,
sun, my friend.
yeah, it's hilarious. Like I'm in the sun all the time too. I try my hardest. I really do. But yeah, that sun in the fourth, but Mercury in the fourth in general, um, it's not really about behind the scenes, but what lies beneath.
Yeah,
There's a lot of the unseen, unsaid, and with it ruling my 10th, this is hard for me to do. So I'm enjoying it, but it's definitely hard. So
it's a
anyone with
muscle. It's a muscle that you have
yeah,
to flex
I
and
gotta
build.
work that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're Mercury in the fourth, you're thinking about things that mine's conjunct the IC. So you're thinking about things that would be too deep for people, things that are perhaps common for you, but might be perceived as going too personal or at a level of comfort that people not might not be used to, because the fourth house can be a struggle for people at times. It can also be a beautiful place that they want to talk about. But Mercury in the fourth, you're really digging to the core root
Yeah.
issue of things.
It's the private parts of life, you know. It doesn't mean that it's like bad private or something like that or secret. It's just
Mm.
like matters that are often not really spoken about. And it can be like a little intense for people. But as someone who is in the line of work that you are in, I think it is very helpful for you. I've seen it time and time again.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Uh,
But what else was I gonna, or what were you gonna say?
I have one of my cousins. He has Mercury in the seventh, in Libra actually, and he's always talking to people. He's always relating to people in a way that it's very personal. It's like the Venusian quality to it. He also has Mars and Jupiter there, so there's like
Mm,
this interesting dynamic going on. But if Mercury in the seventh, you're going to be pretty relational, or be able to at least come off across as relational to people to some component. Being able to communicate and talk about the other person makes them feel very seen and heard. So there's a lot of like banter going on with the seventh. I mean, obviously, depending on other factors in the chart, but um,
I
do you
feel
mind?
like seventh house, Mercury. You said Venus is there too,
Oh, I'm sorry.
or it's in
Libra,
Libra.
Venus
I'm sorry, it's
rules
in Libra. Yeah,
with Jupiter and Mars. Yeah,
I feel like that's such a like an ability to make anyone feel like they're the only person in the world type of vibe or
yeah,
something. Like, and this whole expansive world, when I'm with this person, like I feel really seen. There's a quality there, I'm sure, of
yeah,
that for him. That's cool.
yeah.
Love it.
Is there any other houses that you can appreciate Mercury being in?
My dad is my favorite Mercury chart. He is Virgo rising, Virgo moon, Virgo Venus, Leo sun, and Mars in the 12th. And he is all that is the Virgo. Like, if you needed a Virgo archetype, you can just look at him because the Mercury is also conjunct the ascendant degree, like me. It's like a funny family um, tree sort of placement.
Mm.
For us, he has 7 degrees Virgo, I'm 7 degrees Leo. We have Mercury conjunct that. And his is direct, and he's just the most organized human being. He runs his own business. He has since he was 20, and that's what he does. He's just very archetypal Mercury, and he does not know it at all because he's not into astrology whatsoever. He doesn't even have the Virgo flex if
Mm.
he where he could like own it. There's no
Yeah,
pride there. It's
well, I
very
bet
honest. Yeah.
he's probably a really smart guy for sure.
He is. He can learn anything about anything so quickly. And I struggle always with that because of that like retrograde, and I'm shy, and I'm like all these things with like my chart specific stuff. I don't mean to keep talking about myself, but my dad is like the opposite of like my little ailments of the chart.
Mm.
He's very direct, very well spoken, and makes everything look pretty easy. With
I think
Pluto
you do
there,
the
of
same.
course,
I
too.
think you do the same, honestly. I mean, probably in a
Oh,
different way than a Virgo would, but
yeah.
with that Mercury on the ascendant, you're able to put that out there to some capacity for sure.
I'm faking it till I make it a lot of the time. Because like I
Um,
honestly I feel like just a disclaimer, I feel like I am like use my Leo as a crutch a lot of the time because I'm a night chart and I have moon in the sixth off in Capricorn. It's like so just not a real power at the end of the day sometimes. I'm not trying to like put my chart down or anything, but
No, shine
I'm a
bright,
night
shine
chart.
bright, shine bright.
It's really
Take it.
funny. I love it. But
Yeah.
what about you? Any what so like Mercury is like what how do you think Mercury shows up in the world? Like take the astrology out of it, but like the mercurial archetype. Like what do you think of? Do you think of like a surgeon? Do you think of a banker? Like what are your like people for Mercury? Who are the children of Mercury for you?
For Virgo, I know it's pretty stereotypical, but I really love the gardener. I really,
Ooh,
really,
yeah.
really, really love it because there is a healing element to Virgo in general.
Mm-hmm.
And there is such a beautiful quality about being able to pluck the weeds. You know, weeds are weeds for a reason, and they're meant to get plucked. Now, the way that you pluck them is totally different, you know, and how they should be plucked or the perception of what should be plucked. But the Virgo archetype of knowing what to remove and eliminate
Mm-hmm.
through focused attention is such a beautiful thing. And the gardener is such a wonderful archetype because you can't flourish a garden, have plentiful fruit through your labor without eliminating the toxins and the poisons and the rooted issues that are preventing it from flourishing. So there's a necessity for Mercury to pay attention to the details because details really do matter. And
Mm-hmm.
without the details, nothing would really be cohesively said at any point at any time. So we can't function at all at any level of what Mercury's trying to do. So I really love the gardener. I really love the investigator for
Me
Mercury.
too.
Mercury. Yeah, I really love that because you're taking that quality of the Mercury Virgo and the quality of the Mercury and Virgo of the figuring things out of what belongs, what doesn't. And then you're taking the storytelling element of the Mercury and Gemini and you're putting together just like this masterclass of what Mercury can do in
Mm-hmm.
a malefic house. Those are the two I
1000%.
really love.
Yeah. I love the
Yeah.
investigator. I love the diviner, like, someone who can read the charts, read the cards, read the images, and put a story to it. You know what I mean? There's a skill set there, there's a learnedness. And we actually did I have a local astrology group. Um, and we did it at a brewery the last couple of times. It was the beginning of Virgo season. And I just kind of sat there. I didn't plan for it to be this way, but I was like, brewing is such a Virgoan place,
Mhm.
like being there and like seeing all the like equipment and how like everything matters. Everything's like very organized and like with a purpose of diffusing and I don't know brewery language, but there is like a whole culture behind it and it's
There's
a
a
skills.
recipe that needs to be
There's
followed
exactly
precisely.
there's precise preciseness and precision. I'm sorry, is like just such a good word for Virgo, obviously, and that is almost like adjacent to the farmer or gardener, I'm sorry, of what you're saying, just like the creator of goods that are quality. Yeah.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
fun game I like to play to try and learn about Mercury or to try and figure out someone's Mercury is asking them how they think.
Mm-hmm.
So through that process is when years ago is how I was able to start working with my Mercury and Pisces. So my mother, she has Mercury in the 12th and she has the South Node there. But for her, she says that she does not have thoughts. Like she doesn't think words in her head. She talks out loud in order to understand things, which I thought was really, really profound because it's like you're sitting there talking to yourself to try and understand what you're saying because it's in a dark house.
Oh
Uh,
my
yeah,
God. That
she
is
has it
so
in Virgo
good.
too. She has it in Virgo. She has it conjunct Pluto, so it's a little more complex. But um, so yeah, for her, she's like, I don't think thoughts. I have to talk in order for me to understand anything.
That is so like South Node, like before the words escape me, let me say them,
Yeah,
almost type of thing. That's so
yeah.
interesting.
Oh, that's
I
beautifully
don't,
said. That's true too. Yeah, it's really.
I feel like I talk with my hands a lot. I
Mm.
think it's not the way I think, but I feel like I'm always like scaring people when I'm in person with them.
Your light is shining outwards with your
It's just
words.
my Mercury trying to like frustration of am I coming across okay? It's very like deliberate or something. It's so unconscious though.
So if you
But
have
I love that
Mercury,
for your mom. That's amazing. That's a great
yeah,
example.
yeah, it's really funny. It's been some good conversations with her about that. But if you have Mercury in like a water sign, there's definitely a fluidness to the way you talk. There's a lot of, motioning going on with the way things are said, because you're trying to tap into something
Hmm.
external or internal, depending on the water sign.
Depending on the Kazemi that,
Right.
is happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors.
I love it. How do you think?
I have to receive it,
Okay.
which is so I know a little bit of a sidetrack story, but one time I got high. Right,
Yes.
I know. And
James.
and it was really interesting because my thoughts were I was outside myself, so I was able to see my thoughts come to me, and I was able to word them outwardly. And it was really a mind fuck because it helped me after the fact because I was able to connect to the bubbles and ignore the bubbles that aren't relevant. But it was really says a lot about my fluidness and being able to pick up on what is going on around me. But it's also like it's scary at times because when I'm around people and I start receiving thoughts, and my brother, for example, he'll tell me a story about a dream he had, and he'll be thinking of the dream, and I'll receive the images of
Oh,
the dream.
so,
And
so
I'll say like, "Oh, was this going on in like a brown room?" And he'll be like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, was it like at this angle?" He'll be like, "Yeah." And it's like, "Oh, was this person wearing like black?" Yeah. It's like I'm seeing what you're sending me. So it's hard to live with it because you kind of have to be decide that Mercury like being able to decide within the Jupiterian like void that you're in. Um, so it took some time. And that's why I slur sometimes and all these other issues of putting together sentences because I'm trying to put together thoughts that are coming to me. But I'm
that's
curious
so
about
interesting.
yours.
Wait,
Like
wait, wait.
Mer
That's so interesting, though. That's so crazy interesting, James. It could be like a movie. It's in the fourth house, brother connection there for some reason. I'm thinking like you probably have like a connection with like your family line more than you even probably know, but like utilizing the Mars to like cut out the extra there too
Mm,
with your stellium. It's like just so interesting.
yeah. I want
Could
to know
not
about
pass that up.
yours. I'm really interested because I'm really curious. I mean, because with a Leo sign, I would imagine like thoughts just come to you and you're just like pushing them out. But with it retrograde, you're receiving things, but you have to figure out what is being done, like what's
Hmm.
being said.
Yeah.
How would you perceive it?
My
Or how are you
husband thinks I'm
experiencing it?
my husband thinks I'm crazy a lot of the time because I really like once I learned about this from Demetra George at one of her lectures she did at one of these conferences. It's like a talk on Hermes. And I was like, oh, I am not crazy. I am not because I used to call it like I think I'm psychic, but I'm not really psychic. It was really
Mm,
hard to word. But there is this Mercury retrograde gift of being in Leo, understanding like how people operate because I have it in the first house. So it's like I understand how people are themselves, I feel like, and that might sound weird, but like I can pick up on tones. My husband's like, "What do you mean? They're not upset." I was like, "Yeah, you didn't like I can pick up on these very, very small details of like seeing where someone's really at and if they're lying or not in like a major way. It's like, oh, they actually wanted that other restaurant for us to go to, not the one that we're going to go to. Things like that. And like I am not here for it. So I'll be like, okay, we're gonna go to the other restaurant then. And like that's kind of the Leo, like words just coming out. I'll like make the decision for other people because I know it's what they really want. Again, not with everybody, people close to me, but even in like a work setting, it was really helpful to have like, oh, I can read between these lines that you're telling me, but I know you mean something else, if that makes
mm,
sense. And now
it
I
really
can
is.
act accordingly
Yeah,
to
I love
that.
that. That leadership role of just like taking head on the crowd
Yeah.
and being able to
Yeah.
like grab the baton and be like, I know this is what is best for us. And everyone being like,
Yeah.
right, it is what's best for us. Yes, master, you're right, you're right. And
No.
it be and it's like it's true though, because like you do have that the capability to see the light being shined on the collective and
Yeah.
knowing what's occurring. Like kind of like the queen of the beehive type of.
Literally the yeah, the queen bee thing. It's funny like even just because of how mundane this can show up in life. But like my one of my favorite examples was just talking to my best friend. We talk every day, right? And it was at my old job. I knew shit was hitting the fan. I knew it was a sinking ship 6 months before the company closed its doors, because it did. But I was like, I need to get the F out. And everyone was like, you're being so paranoid. You just like don't like it. You're not really happy. It's a day job. Who cares? I'm like, no, 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 no. They like filed for bankruptcy. It was such a bigger, like more dramatic deal. And I was like, nothing was ever told to me about that. It was just these signs of people's tones. It was like an accumulation of little things that I was able to decipher in my weird Mercury brain of seeing the leader of like my first, like how I was, where I was working, that leadership failing and being able to like cut and run and get out before I was, let go or something. So
Yeah.
got to make my own choice about it.
I really like that because you're a Leo rising and your 10th house is Venus ruled,
Mm-hmm.
and Venus is in a mercurial sign, your
Yes.
second. So it's just like really interesting. How has Mercury impacted so your Leo rising, so your 11th house, taking, you mentioned a little bit about kind of taking that leadership role in group scenarios, kind of like, or not even just in groups of just like social situations, that 11th. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
how would you say um, it has affected like your second and your 11th, given the rulership in the first?
That's a really good question.
Obviously, other placements would,
No, totally.
play.
Because I have like Mars in the 11th, right? It has a star on it, but still, that's really a good question, James. I don't know. I have come to find in the last couple years how important Mercury is for me and to be in touch with it because it like operates money stuff and um like friend stuff, but then like my midheaven ruler or 10th house ruler is in the second. So there's like a saturation there of importance and like really taking caution and deliberate action with those sorts of things. Like I try to nurture them as much as possible just for the betterment of my life and friendships and like the collective that I want to be a part of because of Mars being there. I have to be really careful to not like be flighty and stuff like that. So kind of learning to slow down and it's I don't mean to come off like I'm like trying to read between the lines or get to the
Mm.
bottom of things, but there is like I don't know, an intuitiveness that I've tried to like embrace a little bit more with those placements, I suppose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I thought a really good manifestation for you, that I realized is how you were the virtual leader of NORWAC
Yeah.
this
That's
year,
actually a
and
great point. Yeah.
so you're the leader of a group, a virtual group, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to basically run an audience for a
Yeah.
conference. So it's a perfect way to look at the 11th house ruler being in the first, and then you have not to give all the details, but you also have the South Node there, so which is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like honestly, that's so like that manifests perfectly though, because I'm removed from the conference. Like I'm not
Right.
physically there.
Yeah.
And I'm in this like ether zone, South Node, where like people are really shy, even like
Right.
the collective there can be shy because it's awkward at first and everyone's kind of like getting used to it because it's a 3 day conference. You only have so much time. But I mean, you attended this last year. It was my second year doing it, but it kind of went similarly how the first day people are black screen, black screen, black screen. And then like slowly people start turning their cameras on and getting comfortable. And it's that space that I'm trying to provide in this like virtual land and bringing a connection within us. Yeah, that's a great manifestation of the placement actually.
And with Mars being in Gemini, you were the life of the party. I mean, like you were the one like pushing on and making things happen and continue and being the one to initiate like actions for people. I just thought it was just a great way to look at it because, like you said, you're not really there, but you're
Yeah.
leading it. You know, it's
Yeah.
such a nice way to look at it too. And you were like,
Thank
you have the sun in the first too, so it's like you were the star of that aspect. And I wouldn't be surprised, and if NORAC, if you're listening, they definitely should expand that and use you more.
you.
Because that was like no offense to NORAC, but that was like the highlight was the virtual space that I was.
No, yeah. I was very communicative with them. I was like, you have no idea how much fun this is. Please let me do this every year. We
Yeah.
like honestly, it just has been better every year. And honestly, like this last year was so much fun and like meeting you because you and I knew each other. Maybe we can like start to wrap up here, but like you and I knew each other and like that was such an amazing place to really get more connected with you. Like we're in, a program together. We had plenty of opportunity to do so, but
Mhm.
getting into that particular bubble was where this ended up coming from. So it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I think we talked a lot about Mercury in a lot of different ways.
Yes,
Is there anything else you want to say?
Mercury, praise thee.
Crazy.
We love you, Mercury.
You're the best. Well, thank
He was,
you.
yes.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
What did you
I
say?
was just gonna say in all of his forms because he's so many different forms in like
Oh,
mythology and stuff. That's all. Ending on a little
oh,
magical fun fact.
oh, do you know more about it? You could speak on it. I would love to hear about it if like you're
I guess
free.
I have some like random facts for you, I suppose. We could do Mercury, which is Hermes in the myths, that I'm speaking to right now, like rules the in between. So right when you wake up, right when you fall asleep, that in between state of consciousness is where Hermes resides. Over doorways is where there's a transition from room to room. That's where he resides. It's like a really interesting concept. And I actually got this fun fact yesterday, um, listening to a lecture, and Demetra George goes, before Pluto was a planet that we could look at in a chart, the ancients utilized Mercury as roles in depending on his phase as like this like underworld planet. And I was just like super interested by that and thinking like, yeah, they probably didn't have Pluto, but there was like this version of Mercury that took that. And then like Mercury being so like transformative, which is also a Pluto signification, like I don't know, it was like overwhelming.
That's really
I
interesting.
It was really interesting.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, with that, we are transitioning to an end. But this was a great episode. I love talking with you, my Mercury, in an angle friend, friend and
Compadre.
brother, compadre.
Friend in angularity.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. It's a good title.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, Sam, where can people find you?
You can find me at samanthahamaerastrology.com. We'll be sure to leave links to everything down below, but I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. But James, what about you?
JamesPipitone.com, James Pipitone, YouTube, Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, you can find me pretty much anywhere as well.
And give us a follow on Instagram, on YouTube, and wherever you can listen to things on the
Yeah,
internet.
the Astrology Podcast on YouTube. It was
Yes.
Astro Circle on Instagram. What do we got?
Yes.
Okay, Astro,
We're Astro Circle podcast.
Astro Circle.
We'll leave a link.
Yeah, follow us. Follow us. We'll be posting a bunch. All
Yes.
right. Well, thank you, Sam, and we'll see everyone next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.